Hello everybody, in this video we're going to start working on creating the space switches for the space for the head and the IK. They're both done very similarly, slight differences between the two, but I'll show you guys how that will work. Right now we're going to start off with the head because there's only one thing that we need to connect it to. It's a little bit less elements involved. So let's start that. I'm going to select the head, hover over the outliner, push F, so we get access to that control. Then also with the head control, I'm going to go over here. I'm going to duplicate the head joint, Shift P to unparent it, and then I'm going to collapse the joints. Here I don't need anything except the actual head joint. I don't need that constraint either. So there we go. I deleted everything but the head joint. So what I want to do is make sure that this is moving with the other head joint, but that it is aligned with the world. So we can do that with the points constraint, but first let's rename this so that way we have proper name. So this is going to say world align. There we go. We have the world align joint, and then I'm going to select the target, which is the bind head, followed by the object to be constrained, which is the world align. And then I'm going to do a constraint point. So what you'll see now is if I select this chest and rotate it, that the joint is in the same position, but it is rotated or aligned with the world. There we go. So now we need to, I'll keep that there for a moment. Now we need to build the constraint for the head. We have the head. We don't want to build it directly on the head. We have an offset group to be able to control that. So the target is going to be this world align, and then we're going to go to the world offset, go constrain, and orient. Okay, so right now with the constraint on, you'll see if I rotate it, the head stays aligned with the world. Now if we go back to the tool here, put the constraint off, it moves with the body like you would expect an FK control to move. Okay, so let's make that a little bit more accessible. So when it is at 0, that means that we need to connect it to the it will be moving with the chest, and when it is at 1, it's going to be moving with the world for this constraint. So let's build an attribute here. Attribute editor. Oops, sorry, that's not what I wanted. I want to go to channel box, go edit, add attribute. Okay, so now that I have that done, I can give the attribute name and then say, let's call it align space. It's going to be an enum, and then here we can say at 0 because they go in order. It's 0, 1, 2, and we only need 0 and 1, so we can do it this way. We're going to say it's chest, and then with 1, we're going to be aligned with the world. There we go, and then we'll add that. That's all we need right now. We got both of those controls. We just need to build the connection to it. So let's go to Window, General Editors, Connection Editor. I'm going to send the align space to the constraint. We're going to click that, click the attribute for the constraint. So right now with the headspace, we are set to chest. So let's make sure that it's moving with the chest. That is great. Here, let's move it to world. Let's make sure that it moves with the world. Yep, That is exactly what we're expecting. That is great. The head setup is done. So let's go ahead and put that into the joints. So that way it's a little bit better organized. Then now what I need is to be able to have the arm set up the way we have it now. So what we're going to do is connect it to the pelvis, the chest, and the head. So we're going to go between these three and the world. I need to go into controls. I have the IK arms here. Expand that. The zero group for the arms, and then the offset. So we can see that the control's here. So we want it to control the offset. And we're going to go to constrain, parent. And with the parent, you want to make sure that the maintain offset is turned off. So now when we check this constraint, we have all of these on. Let's just turn them one on at a time. Actually, let's go 0. Here, if we move anything in the character, the hand will stay exactly where it is. Now let's go back to constraint, check it with 1. Moves with the pelvis, but if we do something individually like the chest, it does not move. Now let's take a look at the constraint and switch it over to chest. So here we can select the pelvis, move it around, or the head, whatever we're doing. That will not affect it. And then we are going to move the chest, and it moves with it. Let's go to constraint, and then let's check the head. Here we move the chest, it moves the head, so it does move with it, but here we do the head, that works fine. We do the pelvis, which is independent, and it will not move it, so that is great. And then we already tested the world, so all the constraints are working the way we expect them to. Okay. Now that we have that, we are going to build the control on the hand. Let's go here, edit, add attribute, and this is going to be IK hand, IK underscore hand underscore align. And then we're going to have the first one, let's have it be the pelvis. The next one here, we can have the chest. We can add another one here, that is going to be head. And then here, we're going to have world. And then here we can't directly connect it to 0 and 1, so we need to do set driven keys. But let's add that control. We can choose any of these spaces. And let's go ahead and edit attribute really quick. Let's see. Can I change it here? No. Okay. It'd be nice to have the world as the default rather than the pelvis, but that will work fine. because it'll move like that. It won't move with the chest. It's fine. That's what we'll do. Okay, so let's open up the animation menu set, go to set driven key, set option box, and then we want the constraint as the driven, and then we have the weights right here, and then the driver is going to be the controller here, the align. So when we are set to world, we want to make sure that all of these controls are set to 0, which they are. So let's go ahead and key. Then we can switch over to pelvis. When we are at pelvis, we want the control here to be at 1, key. Go back, switch it over to chest. There you go. So chest, we want to make sure that this is 0 and the chest is 1, then key. And then we want to go down to head. And then with head, this is going to be 0, and this is going to be 1 for the head, and then key. And then that should be it. Let's close this out and double check the control now. So if we are moving with the pelvis, let's move the hand here with the pelvis. We should be able to get it to move there. Okay, now we can go to the chest, put it with the chest control here. And if we select the chest control, it moves with it. That's great. Now we can align it with the head here. And if we rotate the head, it goes with it. Great. And then if we go to world, we can move everything and it will stay in place. That's great. Okay, that is what we want. Set it to pelvis, which is the default, but we can set it to world or whatever we want. Okay, so that is where we will leave off the alignment setup for the rig. And then what I'm going to do between lessons is, because we already have half of the body complete, I'm going to connect the other half of the body to the build the controls and everything for the other half, and then we'll see you after that in the next lesson. All right, see you then. Bye.